And he can't find anywhere to go.
Leverage guy.
And he can't find anywhere to go with it. And he goes down. And now the timeout comes in with just 1 second left in overtime.
Well.
So after the sack, a scenario you certainly don't work on too often. 2nd and 24. Working out of the gun. Love rolling to his right. Oh, and it's intercepted.
Oh, wait a minute. Could it be a pass interference?
And the return here will go to the 31-yard line.
Yes, we'll accept.
So a costly penalty yardage-wise as that'll move the football down to the spot of the foul.
And what the officials are looking for in these situations, whether you're playing the man or the ball. And if you're playing the man, you get a lot less leeway in terms of what's going to happen at the end of the play. But if you're looking for the football, it's less likely to draw the flag.
From the midfield stripe, they'll look to throw.
Oh, please, 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 please.
Deep left sideline.
Oh! Oh, goodness!
I'll use Brown, right? Brown! Flashing the 93 wide! Kansas! Seattle Tiger! Arizona! Nebraska 642 Panther! Omaha! Quaker Omaha! Omaha! Tiffany, Ohio! Lena! Lucy! Tech! 200! Screw Right Clam NASCAR! Yogurt! Candy! Ice Cream Arthur! Duke! Over Alert! Obama! Mini! Fonzie! Tupac! Biggie! Seinfeld! Ric Flair! Chuck Norris! Kill! Blaze!
It's good stuff right there. That is good stuff.
What is going on, everybody? It is your boy B96. First of all, I want to make sure that people can hear me. If you are in the chat and if you can hear me, give me a 1 or give me a thumbs up or whatever it is. Fellas, I had a great game against the Cowboys, and man, you will not believe the ending. In fact, the ending was so awesome I had to put on the highlights, and then I had to put that on the coming soon. I can't believe it. We fought to 17-17. My guy got past, and I should have pressed X versus just letting him catch it. If I would have called X, he would have catch and ran. He would have ran. We would have won the game, and I got stopped on the 1-yard line. God almighty. But anyway, that's Madden for you. I got to tell you, fellas, I want to thank everyone who is still playing, who's still in the league, who's still doing what they're doing. Just a couple of things to talk about first. If you have a development trait game, hey, go ahead and complete that development trait. I know it says 150 plus or 200 plus or whatever. Just remember to send that information to the commissioners. And once you send it to us, then we will give you the thumbs up. Because we understand that you want to get those development traits and everything like that. Also, remember, trade deadline is passed. So, I mean, if you got some players, great. If you didn't, there's always next year. And remember, after the Super Bowl, if you have any trades left or anything like that, you're able to use those. So, you can go ahead and do that. So, first thing we're going to do is that we're going to go to the league and we're going to look at the going to look at the scores and we're going to look at the standings. Okay, so as you can see, Dallas and Washington, we just ended up tying. But what we're going to do is that, and if you take a look at the standings, hey, what can you say? That's where everything is right now. So let's see if we can't look at the standings here. X is viewing the standings. Okay, so first things first, what we're going to do is that we're going to look at the NFL overall. Panthers 9-0, Colts 9-0, 49ers 10-0. I mean, come on, fellas. You know, the usual suspects are at the top. And then you got the Titans. Now, here's the thing with the Titans. I'm not sure. I can't call him a contender or a player. Um, yeah, I don't think they've played. The two losses that they've had, they've lost to they lost to the Colts. So they got to kind of work on that. Buccaneers, they played some good games. They went down to the wire once again with the Panthers. Packers 8-1. I don't know who that loss was to. I probably shouldn't have really been a loss. Lions 8-2. I saw their last couple of games, and yeah, your quarterback is good to go now. He can actually play games. Chargers 6-3. Lost a heartbreak this past week. Cowboys 6-2. Bills 5-3. Football team 5-3-1. Jets 6-4. Steelers 5-4. And Chiefs 5-4. Now, those are the top 14, and everyone else falls below. But let's take a look right now at the AFC. If you look at the AFC, you got the Colts, Titans, and Chargers. Bills are in there now. The Bills are playing, but you got to make sure that you coordinate with them. If you don't coordinate with them, then you can kind of get the win there. Then you got the Bills, Jets, Steelers, and Chiefs. So you got the top 7. That's right there in the AFC. Then if you go to the NFC, once again, you got all the players. Panthers, 49ers, Buccaneers, Packers, Lions, Cowboys football team, and you got the Cardinals, the Eagles, and the Vikings. Now, the Vikings are 5-5. Now, they're in a tough division themselves. Those are only other players. So, I think what we're going to have is we've got really 14 players that are actually in the game. And with those 14, we're going to get to the playoffs. Now, we're not going to fast forward to the playoffs because there's development traits and everything else that we want to do. So, what can you say? Just remember to play your games, coordinate with your opponent. Please stay within the boundaries if you're playing the CPU. Okay? So let's move on to the AFC North. AFC North, Steelers, he's the only one that's playing. Browns, Ravens, and Bengals, so you're going to see the Steelers in the playoffs. If you go to the AFC South, once again, Colts, 8-0. They haven't played their game yet. Then you got the Titans, 8-2. And Texans and Jaguars bringing up the rear. In the AFC East, Bills, Jets, Dolphins, and Patriots. Now, the Patriots are 1-7, but they have a player. Brandon B. is back. He picked the Patriots, and so this year may be kind of a throwaway for him. Maybe win a couple of games here and there, but look for them in Season 4 to get ready to do some damage. In the AFC West, you got the Chargers and the Chiefs. They're fighting up there. I tell you, Chris Olave is getting so many developmental traits. It's not even funny. I'm telling you. I look at it and I can't even get one. So what can I say? And then you got the NFC North. Packers and Lions fighting. I'm going to love to see that one. And don't sleep on the Vikings. The Vikings get a couple of wins. They can sneak in there as a wild card. NFC South, you got the Packers and the Buccaneers. 9-0, 8-1. Those guys are going to see each other again in the playoffs. No doubt there. NFC East, Cowboys and football team. Now, I think the interesting thing about this case may be that only one of these teams actually gets in. So, people are going to have to play. The Cowboys, they've got a tough schedule coming up. They're going to be playing a lot of user games like Washington played the user games in the beginning. So definitely going to be some stuff that there's definitely going to be a fight in this division to try to get the top spot. And in the NFC West, you've got the 49ers there by themselves. So what you got is really almost 3 to 4 divisions probably locked up right now. And everyone else is still fighting for a playoff spot. So, with that being the case, you see the standings. You see everything that's going on. What you also are going to see is that we had a lot of trades that happened this past week. So, let's go to the trades. Okay, so what I did is that this section is called Who's Trading Who. And what we mean by that really is this is absolutely crazy. What you're going to take a look at and what you're going to see here is, and give me a second so I can turn this light back on because I think that's why I'm getting, yeah, there we go. There we go. We had a lot of good trades that actually happened this time around. And what we did is that we identified the trades going back a week ago. So, what we also wanted to do is that this is your time where if you wanted to get in and discuss your trades and things like that, all you have to do is that you can come into the Discord. You come into the Discord and go to interviews. I can actually bring you in and we can hear you talk about your trades and things like that. So, with that being said, I don't have anybody in here yet. I was hoping to get a couple of people, but let's go ahead and get started. The first trade that we have is that we talked about the Kansas City Chiefs and the Green Bay Packers. Interesting thing about the Kansas City Chiefs is that they have a lot. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I've got someone on the line right now. We've got Jason. Jason, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Can you hear
Hey,
me?
yes, I can hear you. Thank you for coming on to the Audible. Um, in a couple of minutes, we're going to go over some trades, but first, wanted to get your thoughts on the different trades that have actually been going on. The first trade that we're talking about is we're talking about the Kansas City Chiefs, how they traded Tyron or the Honey Badger to the Green Bay. I'm sorry, yeah, to the Green Bay Packers, and the Green
Yeah.
Bay Packers picked up or they traded Eric Stokes and their third round pick. Um, you're giving up a X factor for a very good cornerback, and so the question would be, who gets the better of that trade?
Yeah, I think it's an interesting move by both teams. You get a veteran, X factor, strong safety, great awareness, going to be a tackler, but you give up a young, super fast corner. And we all know speed's the name of the game. So, power move by both teams trying to get their defenses right. One's playing a little bit of man, one's playing a little bit of zone. So, it should be a good move for both teams.
Yeah, I thought the other interesting thing about this is that the Honey Badger, I believe he's on his last deal. I'm not too sure about Eric Stokes. I have to check him. But then when you go into 2024, now the Kansas City Chiefs are going to get first, second, and they have two-thirds. And then the Green Bay Packers will have to decide what they're going to do with the Honey Badger at the end of the year. So, there's a little bit of money factor going here. But I also believe that both of those teams are pretty decent with the salary cap. So it shouldn't be too much of an issue.
Yeah, Stokes is on his rookie deal, so he'll have him for at least another one.
Yeah, exactly. So you're shoring up your cornerbacks. The Honey Badgers going to provide the Packers because the Packers are going to be there at the end of the year,
Right.
and so you're looking for someone who's going to, be an X factor in that defensive backfield. So let's go to the next trade. Now here's an interesting one. We're both actually on this one. Oh, I'm sorry. No, it's not us. I was thinking about that. Well, you know what? Let's go to that trade. I'll come back to that one. Let's go to a trade that you actually did because
All right.
I'm really interested in this one. So let me see. Is this trade number 4 or number 5? No, that's not it. Let me go back. It's probably trade number 6. Okay, there we go. Okay, so trade number 6, and we'll go back to these other ones. But Pittsburgh, you traded Jerome Baker, Brandon Ayuk, and a 2024 first round pick. You
Right.
traded that to the Pittsburgh Steelers, and you got back T.J. Watt and James Washington. Now, I've looked at your roster. I mean, James is kind of a, yeah, I got you. Yeah, give me the wide receiver. You know,
Right.
but you picked up an X factor in T.J. Watt, 94 overall. My question is though, is that you gave up? I believe that Jerome Baker he's got a couple of years left, correct?
Yeah, he had 3 years left. Yep.
Okay, and then Brandon Ayuk, he may have been on his last. He may have been on his last deal, or maybe he had a couple of years left.
He had 2 left. He's still on his rookie deal.
Oh, okay, and you gave up a first round pick, so you gave up a lot. And I know Daddy League said this was the deal, but what was your thought process for doing this?
Yeah, the big move is when you get into the playoffs and you start playing teams like the Panthers, you start playing teams like the Packers, you start playing teams like the Lions, and or if you're lucky enough to get out of the NFC and get the Colts, you got to be able to rush the passer. And I felt like with the lineup that we had in San Francisco, we just didn't have the pass rush capabilities that we needed. Made a move for TJ Watt, made the cap room fit with James Washington and went after it.
Yeah. And another thing I noticed too, you're one of the better GMs here in the league, and I think the biggest thing is that you've positioned yourself with your cap space to allow you to get these big names. The thing is, now I believe TJ Watt, is this his last year, or does he have a bunch of years
TJ's got 3 more years.
Oh goodness! So now you got an X factor on the line along with the rest of your guys. So I mean, I think both of you guys are in a win-win. For the Steelers, first round pick, still gets a good linebacker, and then also has Brandon Ayuk, one of the better wide receivers in the league. So
Ayuk was a superstar at the time too. So it was a superstar Ayuk, star for Baker in the first round for X Factor Watt, and then a normal Washington. So with some development traits flying around.
Absolutely. And so to be honest, I really expect Brandon Ayuk to probably be an X Factor by the end of this year. I mean, we got 7 games left, and if you get him the ball and he balls out, I don't think you have a problem there or anything like that.
Sure.
So, we'll go to the next trade, and then we'll stay with you because here's another trade. And this one was really interesting. You already had Nick Bosa. You already had TJ Watt. I mean, you already had some guys on the line. But then you went to the Minnesota Vikings, and you picked up Daniel Hunter, Irv Smith Jr. I love Irv Smith Jr. He is one of the fastest tight ends in the league. I love him. I mean, I believe he's 89? Might even be.
He's 88 speed.
Yeah, 88
he's got
speed.
Great catching traffic.
Absolutely. And then you also got the left tackle, Christian Darrisaw, which is very interesting because he is an 80 overall, and I know for a fact that 80s on the offensive line, everybody wants them. Yep. I mean, they really do. And so what you gave up was interesting as well. You gave up Eric Armstead, which I think he's a beast as well on the line. You gave up George Kittle, 99 overall, and then you gave up Chris Claybrooks, 73 overall. But once again, he has speed, and so you can still use him in the backfield, defensive backfield. Whether you use him, whether you use him for different things in the nickel and the dime, maybe even bring on a blitz if you can. So
this trade is interesting.
Yeah. So I was going to ask you.
I've been trying to get Darrisaw off of the Vikings for maybe since his second year, and he has been unwilling to give him up. And as this thing went on again, looking for more pass rush, I knew I'd have to give. And giving Kittle was heartbreaking, and you have to be able to eat the cap hit.
Yeah.
Right. So for me, even the trade with the Steelers in this trade, it's navigating the cap hit. How am I going to be this year to next year? And as I told the Vikings, chips are all in for this season. We pushed in. We'll see what happens for next year. But I've been more than happy with the trade. Hunter's a beast. Irv Smith is underrated for sure. Hopefully I can get a development upgrade. And then Darrisaw just stirs up the line. I actually moved him to left guard, because I got Trent Williams at left tackle. So we're solid now, but that's a great move. And Claybrooks was great. Claybrooks played for me all over the place.
Yeah. And like I said, Claybrooks, he is very versatile. You can put him on a slot receiver. You can put him out, on the wide receivers. I mean, you can even bring him on the blitz. He's that versatile where you can actually, put in work with him. But
this trade almost blew up over the cap hit.
Yeah,
I took about 17 mil with Armstead and Kittle, and then the corner was what he wanted. And we went back and forth for a while just trying to make the cap hit work. So it was something. It was a good trade for both of us, I think.
Yeah, definitely. And like I said, as being a wheeling and dealing, the one thing is like a lot of us, we like to hold on to them 95, 96 guys, but you haven't had an issue whatsoever giving up a 99 overall. And the other thing too is that you're giving them up when they have years on them, and you still have that cap hit.
Yeah.
And so then the question is, like you said, down the road, what is everything going to look like? So,
Yeah.
like I said, your wheeling and dealing was amazing. I'm telling you.
I appreciate it.
So what we're going to do now is that we're going to go to one of the trades that I actually made. I traded with the Kansas City Chiefs. I gave up Chase Young, Carmen Curl, and I gave up a second-round pick for L'Jarius Sneed and Preston Smith. Now,
Great move.
I think my issue was that, and I would have never made this trade if I didn't have Khalil Mack. Khalil Mack, and I had him at an age reduction. So he's already getting $22.9 million. And he's a zero count against my cap. So if I ever had to, I guess you could say, dump salary, or if I had to make a deal or something like that, I've got one where I could free up $22 million if I needed to. The other issue is that I definitely was not happy with my cornerbacks. And we'll get into another trade later on, which I was really working toward. But L'Jarius Sneed, I mean, he takes one side of the field away, which I'm really happy about. And then Preston Smith, I mean, he's not as fast and he's not a wrecker as Chase Young is, but he's serviceable. And like I said, I've actually put him and paired him with Montez Sweat on the other side. So those two are going to kind of make up for Chase Young. And then for the Kansas City Chiefs, once again, you get Chase Young on the line. You get a free safety who's pretty savvy, 87 overall, and then you're going to get a second-round pick. So now the Kansas City Chiefs has a first-rounder, 2 second-rounders, 2 third-rounders. And so that's a lot of draft capital that they can mess around with, make some trades, or find that diamond in the rough. So
good to see the Kansas City Chiefs making moves. They're one of the harder teams to trade with.
Oh yeah, most definitely. I mean, but when you look at it, I was even trying to get Mecole Hardman. I mean, you're talking 97 speed. I mean, just a killer. And as you know, speed kills because
Speed kills.
I mean, but you picked up Jalen. I tell you, I was trying to trade for Jalen Waddle, and that guy's just unbelievable. So, okay, so the next trade, we're not even involved in this one, but I thought this was interesting because of the fact that, once again, you have the Colts giving up the quarterback who took them to the Super Bowl, Carson Wentz, and their right end, Dale, I'm just going to say OG. I'm not going to butcher his name. And then they end up getting Cam Hobbs. Now, the interesting thing about Cam Hobbs is that he wasn't actually playing.
No, he didn't even know he had.
Yeah. I mean, the Lions was playing Jared Goff, and Cam Hobbs is sitting there as an X factor on the bench.
Right.
And so I remember asking Detroit, I say, "Hey, look, man, I would love to get him." And then the Lions were like, "Hey, I'm not trading. He's my only quarterback besides Goff." And I was like, "Okay." And the next thing I know, you get Carson Wentz and the right end, and you're just giving up Cam Hobbs. I mean, you didn't
believe this trade went down. Great move by the Colts for sure.
Yeah, I mean, and the thing with this one is no draft capital even included in this one. I mean, and the thing is that the Colts, I mean, an X factor quarterback. I mean, that's just.
Well, it's the cap too, right? Carson Wentz was on for about $25 million on the cap.
Right.
The right end's a young guy on a third-year contract, and then he gives up big money Wentz and gets the young quarterback, freeing up cap money to do some things and going into year 4. The Lions get what they need because he's doing well with the DN. The Lions are roster depleted a little bit.
Right.
But great move. Can't believe it happened. I'm not sure I would have made that trade, but well done by both teams.
And then I think it really shows in both of their records. The Lions are 8-2. Once again, the Colts are 8-0. But the Colts are always there, at the end for the playoffs and things like that. So, I mean, this will be interesting because then in the next trade we're going to get into, then you're going to get a good wide receiver to pair up with Hobbs. And so we'll go to that one. And that was a trade I actually made. And the problem that I had with this trade is that Scary Terry did not want to take any of my money. Evidently, he was not happy in Washington.
Tragic.
Evidently, he didn't like the football team name, the commander name. I have no clue. But I offered him everything, and I even had to franchise tag him this year. So he was counting like $22 million against the cap. And so this trade, I got a bunch of guys that are like on their last year, except for the middle linebacker, which I really like. Bobby.
He's a player.
A player.
Yeah, he's a player.
I love him completely. And Kenny Moore, once again, 91 speed, 96 acceleration, and 94 man. So I'm starting to play a little bit more man defense. And then Michael Pittman, he's 92 overall. He's a superstar, but his speed is only 89. But
yeah, he's a good route runner.
Right, exactly. But you run him on a route and he'll catch the ball. So
yep.
I have no issues with that.
This is a great trade. I like the trade for you. I don't like the trade for the Colts because he doesn't need any more weapons. But he gave you a couple X factors, a superstar, for a guy. It's a legit trade. You took a haul in. It's going to help you in the long run, and he don't need any more speed. But
yeah,
it's a good trade for both teams.
Yeah, I looked at his and your lineup. Your rosters. They are. I'm not going to say that they're mirror, but you can see, the thought process as the GMs with the speed, trying to shore up the defensive line. It's all there for both of you guys. So, and the one thing is that I was able to sign Kenny Moore. So
good.
He signed. I've got Michael Pittman. I love to sign him, but I think he's going to ask for more money than I'm willing to get, at least for a superstar. And my other issue is that now it's the last year for Jordan Love, and Jordan Love's asking for a lot of money, and I'm not too sure that I'm going to be able. Possible tag, or depending on what happens in the off season, I love to get in there. And because there are a couple of nice quarterbacks that are actually in the draft this year, and so definitely like to get them. The only problem is that this is the third season, next year is our last season, and so trying to build a quarterback up, trying to nurture him, it's going to be kind of tough. So that's something looking at. And
great trade.
Yeah, and let me see, and so I think those were the biggest trades that we actually had this year. We had some other ones that went down, but they weren't, But they didn't to amount anything. These 6 trades, happened within week 6 to week 8, and I thought it was very interesting that you had some big names that moved to different places. I can't say that at any point in time that anyone really lost out. I don't think that was the case. I think that
very good trade for both teams.
Yeah, I think everyone got what they needed, and and I think they got it so that they can actually move on and go forward. So,
absolutely.
So with all that being said, the next thing we're going to go to is I'm going to go get rid of this. Let me see if I can't hide that. There we go. So the next thing is called how your team is looking, and so once again. If we've got anybody out there, if they want to jump in and talk about their team, they can. But since I have the 49ers, since I have you on, we're going to go ahead and we're going to talk about you and your team. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring up your stats, bring up your information, and then I'm going to just ask you a couple of questions on what you're trying to do with your team. So, let's see. We'll talk about the Niners. There we go. All right, so. How's your team looking? Now, here's an interesting thing that I saw. 252.5 is the salary cap. You still have, after all the trades that you made, you still have $13 million that's free. So,
Yeah, I freed up a lot of money in that Kittle Armstead trade. Really
right.
opened the cap up. I had about 250,000 left and opened up a few million with that trade for sure.
Yeah. And so what that'll do is that, once again, kind of depend on who you want to hold on to, who you want to get rid of, and, where you want to make a trade for it down the road. I mean, you still have some money that's actually there. So, I mean, like, once again, kudos to you as the GM. Now, you take a look at all your offensive stats, third, third in points scored, first in yards.
A lot of computer games in there.
Yeah.
A lot of computer games.
Hey, but once again, this opens up for you different development traits. It
Yes.
also opens up for you, kind of working to get your stuff done. I mean, passing yards and rushing yards, 420 first, and you're third with that. Once again, Mozart and that new guy, Leslie, man.
Leslie.
I mean, just straight beast. Straight beast.
When
And-
I drafted him last 2 years ago, 2 drafts ago, you mentioned it was a cross-eyed draft, but I knew what I was getting, knowing that Mostert was getting old. Now
Yeah.
he's good.
Yeah, no, he's
Mostert's going to make his return here soon, but that guy's good.
yeah. No, I mean, and then look, I mean, it reminds me a little bit like Gibson. He's always falling forward. He's always getting to the edge, and once he gets to the edge, that dude is actually gone. So
And 94 speed, it's good.
Yeah.
It's a good player.
absolutely. And so defensively, you are 6th, 23 points, 7th, 14th, and 6th. So kind of middle of the pack when it comes passing. But when you talk about rushing, you only allow 60 yards. That's absolutely nuts. That's crazy. And so once again, now you've added Hunter, T.J. Watt. I mean, that just once again.
Trying to keep up with these good teams.
Yeah.
Colts and Panthers, they're doing some good things on defense, trying to keep up.
Yeah, exactly. And then you take a look, like you said, you got Trent, Denzel Ward, Nick Bosa, Devin White, Trey Lance. So you got a lot of guys that are making a lot of money, but they're still going to be making that money. Trey Lance, I think that's really cool for him being 96 and only costing $9.3 million, and he's not even up.
No, he's got another year.
He's not got another year, so he's going to be after the league is, defunct, or like I actually call it. And then you take a look at your free agents, Nick Bosa, but everyone else not really making that much money. So once again, when you take a look at that and compare that to what for next year, I think that sets you up really well for the last season, and being able to go into the draft and really just say, hey, look, I need a strong safety, I need a offensive lineman, and that's where you want to focus on. So I think that's really cool. I really do.
Yeah, it's been a good process. Sometimes you got to eat that first year to get your other years right, and I try to be real methodical in year 1 to get so that year 2, 3, 4 can be right. So.
Yeah. And that's, what, and I'm telling you, I mean, I know myself, I'm like one of those, hey, I don't want to lose that guy and actually eat that. But, I mean, I remember last year when I had, when I got Rodgers, and it kind of the same thing. I had to eat, because then I had to get rid of, I want to say, Alex Smith or something like that. It was like the last Madden.
Oh, but you did take that big hit on him.
Yeah, I took that hit, but then after the second and third year, it opened everything up.
Yeah,
so
comes back to you.
Exactly. And so if we were to go to my team, and then we'll pick a couple of other teams and take a look at their situation. And if you come to my team, once again, 252, $4 million, and once again, the person that I really had to eat was McLaurin. And I think that, the one thing I like about Madden 22 is that this is kind of real time for people to have to, we get to look at, the real NFL teams and the problems that they're going to have, a la the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and props to Cuff about having to deal with the team, and props to Cuff for tying me today, and I swear all I had to do was press X. If I would have pressed X, he would have, it was a catch and run, but it said it said secure the catch, and I'm telling you, I was like, please, 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 and if I would have caught X, he would have caught it and ran, and he was out at the 1 yard line.
And Zeke turned back the clock a couple years with all that freight train.
Oh, I mean, that 2 plays, I swear that I tackled him like 15 times. And
oh, yeah, you hit him in the backfield on the last
I hit
drive.
him in the back. I hit him in the back. He stumbled forward. He then and then one of my guys must have been a $130 soaking wet because he actually threw him off as well. But as you can see, the issues that I'm having is points 19th. You know, I'm below average. 316 yards passing. Yeah, that's rough.
Respectable.
Passing yards, I'm last. But rushing yards, 135, I'm actually 5th. So you kind of see where I'm focusing. Defensively, 16th, 6th, 7th, and 14th. And that's probably going to hurt me because of what Zeke did this past weekend. And that we played.
You play good, solid defense and good, solid offense. You're a tough out every time.
Yeah.
For sure.
You know, I think the one problem that I have is that sometimes if things go south real fast, then I go south real fast. And that's just something I got to work on. My most expensive guys, once again, Khalil Mack, John Allen. William Jackson, he's going to be a free agent. I'm not signing him. But Montez Sweat and Will Fuller, those guys are actually tied up. And then for the top players, Gibson, he's tied up. Max tied up. Pittman's out there. Deron Payne. So
your front 7 is legit. The D-line, the linebackers for you are so good.
Yeah. And so here comes my issue with the upcoming free agents. Kenny Moore, I just signed. Michael Pittman, I'm not sure I'm not going to touch him. I mean, 170. He wants almost 12, 13 mil, and I just think, think for his speed and everything like that, that's kind of a tough. That's a tough pill to swallow.
Send him down the river.
Yeah, Marcus May, he's not going anywhere. Robert Tonyan, I really don't use the tight end like I should. It depends on how much he wants, but here's the problem. Jordan Love. Let me close this, but I thought they were going to show him. They probably, that's okay. I don't need to do that. Oh, there it is. But, I mean, he's got some good stats. The problem is that he wants almost $75 million over I want to say 3 years or something like that. And so
big money.
I've got to see exactly where I stand at the beginning of the year for dollars. So
tag him. If you can't sign him, just tag him.
Yeah.
At least you have him.
Yeah, exactly.
Quarterbacks are hard to find.
Yeah, you know what? You are absolutely right. Now, that is the toughest thing, I think, in this league. If you get a quarterback, once again, I wanted Cam Hobbs. If I could have got Cam Hobbs, I would have been I would have been a happy camper. I'm just trying to figure out what I would have had to give up for him. That really would have been the question.
Sure.
So, all right. So, what team do we want to go to next? I guess we should let's go to the Colts, since they are the reigning Super Bowl champions. We'll take a look at them. All right. So, we look at the Colts once again. As you can see, second, third. Rushing yards this year is 10th. But I think that's just because there's other guys that are actually running the ball more than anything.
Sure. He's spreading it around pretty good.
Yeah, exactly. But defensively, I mean,
killing it.
This is absolutely sick. I mean, ridiculous. He's first in all 4 categories. And, oh, by the way, $35 million freed up. I mean, and you know how he plays. So, going into next year, he's going to have money to get the big free agents. He's going to, and you know how he drafts. So, right. I mean, it's crazy. I mean, his most expensive guy, Darius Leonard, DeForest Buckner. And once again, those are the guys who are on the line. I mean, the big business. And then Quentin Nelson, Ryan Kelly, and Jack Conklin, his linemen. And once again, I just think that's amazing. Now, as you mentioned, the top players, I mean, good God, 96 is the lowest, if I can move my head out the way, with Kwity Paye. But Jonathan Taylor, McLaurin, Nelson, Buckner, and Page.
Team is loaded. Taylor's a problem for sure.
I love the way the Colts how he does his team. I really
Does a great
really
job.
do. He does a great job with his. And then his upcoming free agents, once again, kind of the same way as you. McLaurin has 11 million, but he can tag him too if he wants.
Yeah.
Jonathan Taylor, you know, either tag him or give him what he wants. And then you talk Adrian Amos. He traded him from the Green Bay Packers,
Right.
Julian Blackman, and then Patrick Ricard. So those are the only upcoming free agents. So you're going to be looking at Leonard, Buckner, Nelson, Kelly, and Conklin. You're going to be looking at those guys again. It's
The Colts do a great job of developing their players to get the development up trade.
Yep.
And then they do a great job of signing some old guys with some abilities, and he finds a role for them. He does a great job with that. The Colts do a great job managing their team.
And not only that, I mean, it's great to be a good stick user player too. I mean,
Yeah,
that does not hurt at all. So that once again, so they're in the league. So now a team I would like to look at is I want to take a look at the Chargers. And the reason I want to look at them is because they're interesting. And I say that because he made a couple of trades earlier in the season, and he's kind of one of those teams that, hey, is up and down. He will smoke you on a couple of weeks,
Yeah.
and then he'll have some letdowns. That kind of put him like in the third or fourth, tier.
He definitely finds something that you do, and he will exploit it. So if you're not ready to adjust, he will run you right off the screen.
Right. And, I mean, he showed that this year. I mean, I know that he had to go and travel. But, man, he was in the AFC conference game.
Absolutely.
And like you said, it is one of those things where if he gets on it, he's like a dog on a bone. He's just not going to let it go. And you can see that by his points and his yards. I mean, he doesn't run the ball much, but that's because he airs it out. I mean, he
uses Austin Eckler really well.
Oh, yeah.
Really well.
Yeah. I mean, him and the Panthers. The guys coming out of the backfield, man, I can't.
McCaffrey's a cheat code.
Oh, yeah.
That's all I'm gonna say about that.
I can't stand it when McCaffrey comes. I mean, he's already a route technician. You can put him on any route out of the backfield. Just unbelievable. And
Eckler's on his way to be there too.
Yeah.
Chargers doing a good job with him.
Yeah, absolutely. And then when you take a look at his most expensive guys, you got Joey Bosa, Keenan Allen. Now, once again, Keenan's a great route runner, but he's not outrunning anybody. So once again, that's kind of a question there. And then you got Ochina Nwasu. I love this linebacker. I love him. He's a baller. And then Corey Lindsey and Cole Holcomb. And Cole was actually on my team, but he is a superstar. And yeah, and he's definitely on his way up. The top players, once again, you take a look at these guys. Justin Herbert, man, I love that guy. I'm talking in Madden and in real life. That guy. I mean, you don't realize how big he is and how fast he is.
Great player.
Until you actually see him. And then if you take a look at his, this is amazing. I mean, the upcoming free agents, Emmanuel Hall, I mean, they're all 70s. So you're not signing any of these guys. You'll let them go. You'll let them go to the free agent, or you'll try and get them at the lowest price possible. So
Emmanuel Hall's got to be a keeper for him. Great speed, wide receiver, tall.
Yes.
He's got the space for him. The rest of those guys, maybe not so much.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Oreo cookies for all of these guys. Every one of them. So, you've got a great team that's actually set up there. So that's one of the reasons I wanted to take a look at him. And he's got $15.6 million. So it's not even like he's going to run through all of that with the guys that he has that are free agents. So once again,
he's ready to do some work in the offseason.
Yeah, absolutely. So once again, that's a great thing. And that goes to all the GMs that we actually have. So let's go ahead and take a look at the Cowboys. Now, I want to take a look at the Cowboys just for a couple of reasons. This is on the other side of the scale.
Jerry Jones did him wrong.
Oh, exactly. And Jerry Jones does this team wrong every year in Madden. Every
Absolutely.
every year. It is going to be interesting to see what they do in real life because they're already going to cut or trade Cooper. They're
Right.
already going to probably make some space by getting rid of Zeke by trade
Yep.
or whatever. So when the next Madden comes out, this team may look way different than what we're actually seeing. But I would say this defensively, these guys are on point. I mean, Micah Parsons,
So
Lawrence,
fast, so
Diggs.
good.
I mean, every time when I played him today, every time I tried to drift to the right, drift to the left, man, Micah Parsons was in my grill. I guess I should say it like Charles Davis. He was like a dentist, while I was sitting in the chair. I mean, he was in my grill every time. It was unbelievable. However, if we go down to the most expensive, look at that. Dak, $45 million. I mean, oof. I I mean he deserves his money, but
Sure.
in Madden, I understand what the GMs and the owners are saying now. I mean, I really do. I mean, that's like yikes. And he's an 89. No, good quarterback, but that just I mean that 45 million 200, that's like 25% of your, or between 20 and 25% of your let me see. Yeah, 20 to 25% of your cap space. And
And a guy
there's
that doesn't have great throw power either.
right. And the other thing too is that you can't get rid of him as easily as these other quarterbacks.
No.
I mean, he's just not going anywhere. And even if another team wanted him, there's nothing they can do with him.
No.
You know.
No, it's a tough spot to be the Cowboys. Almost like you need to blow it up in year one and just take your hits and hope you come back around year three. I mean,
Yeah.
there's not much you can do.
Yeah, exactly. So that's kind of one of those things where you're just like, thanks, Jerry. Appreciate it.
Right.
And then you look at DeMarcus Lawrence, Tyron Smith, Zeke. Once again, I'm telling you, I would be surprised if Zeke hangs around, especially if you got Pollard. Pollard with 95 speed. I mean, Zeke, well, I mean, he kind of showed why playing me and breaking off that 80-yarder.
Oh, yeah. Pollard's a player.
Yeah, exactly. But the problem is what are you going to do with that? What are you going to do with that number? I mean, you might be able to move Zeke if someone has just a lot of cap space that's open,
Sure.
But then once again, do they want? I mean, if the person has the cap space, they'll take him because then what they can do is they can either trade him or if he's not working out or whatever, you can get rid of him and you can still have 16 million. And you probably would
You
like
don't
to
get
use
hit
him.
with the cap hit. Yeah,
Right.
no doubt.
Right. You might want to use him as an asset, but see what happens.
I think it was interesting in some of the conversations that me, you, and Cuff were having early on in the this particular season, talking about guys retiring and us. Do we want them back or do we not want them back? And in the Cowboys' case, you don't want a couple of those old guys, even though they're good players. You want to let them go because you want that freed up space. And
Right.
We, had the age reduction this year. Who you put that on? That's another. Who you paying?
Right.
It's a really difficult task that Cuff has with the Cowboys, and I know he's a diehard Cowboy guy. He's going to ride or die with them, but he does a really good job of managing it for sure.
Yeah. I mean, and the one thing is that he realizes that, and he's done something that, I guess you could say maybe he's got some foresight because he actually got rid of Coop, like that. Now Cooper's over at the Raiders because once again, CPU picked him up, and what are you going to do? But I mean, what Cooper's doing is probably what the Cowboys are doing, and of course we've accelerated because we're kind of like a year ahead. But yeah, he's in a difficult situation. And then I think if you take a look at his upcoming free agent, CeeDee Lamb, I mean he's only got 8,100 spaces open. So you got that, DeMarcus Lawrence. I mean, are you really going to try and re-sign those guys, or do you just let DeMarcus Lawrence go? Maybe find some things or find some guys in free agency. I mean, the real question is what is DeMarcus Lawrence going to want? in
Tough.
free agency. So
Tough to let him go, but it looks like you got to. You don't have a choice.
yeah,
Tough.
and I think the big one here is Trayvon Diggs. I mean,
Absolutely.
only $2 million, but 79 overall, fast speed, good hands. Anybody would like to have that guy in their secondary. So
Now, Madden 23, Trayvon Diggs will be a hot commodity. He's a
Oh.
little underrated in this Madden right now, but
right,
Jeff will be in good shape.
yeah, exactly. And let's go. Okay, there's probably two more teams I want to hit. All right, the Panthers. Now the Panthers are. Oh no, not the Saints. No, we don't want to see them. Panthers. Let's see. There we go. All right, now here's an interesting thing about the Panthers. They are 8-0. They are right there at the butt of their salary. I mean, he has no
He got nothing
movement.
left.
He's got no move whatsoever. Defensively, looks great. Offensively, always going to look great. And once again, as you mentioned, he's got McCaffrey, which is the cheat code. I mean, let's call it what it is. And that's what it is there. And then if you take a look at his guys, Brian Burns, $30 million. Taylor, $20 million. DJ Moore. I think DJ Moore is going to be on the block next year because I think he's an upcoming free agent. I could be wrong. But Christian McCaffrey only making $17 million. And once again, he is doing work. And then you got Hassan Reddick. But once again, then the top players, Jeremy Chin, that guy, that cornerback saved the game against the Buccaneers last week.
Absolutely.
I mean that interception, which I couldn't figure out why Mike Evans wouldn't go up for it, but Jeremy Chin, I guess that was the computer going, this is Jeremy Chin's ball, and the other people don't get to play. Don't know.
The Panthers setup on offense is one much like the Rams back in the fastest show on turf setup. Speed everywhere. McCaffrey, like Falk, can do everything they want. You know, he's got it all on offense.
Yep.
An AR reduction, Cam Newton.
Oh,
Mike's got it set up for sure. And then whatever he's doing on defense with Burns is ridiculous.
yes. I mean, I can remember playing him, and I was under center, and I think I had the ball, and 2 seconds later, Brian Burns was in my face. And I was like,
Unbelievable.
exactly. And also, too, he may not have a lot of money, but once again, he's got guys he's probably not going to sign. I think Robbie Anderson is probably going to go to free agency because, once again, I think he's already set up for that unless he tries to franchise tag him. But everyone else, I mean, Gross Matos, Kevin Dotson on the line, Troy Pride Jr., Kemo Grugier-Hill, all those guys. I mean, once again, I think you can still play around. Let them go to free agency. If nobody wants them, get them at a low price. And
Mike will find a way. He does a great job in the offseason, too.
Absolutely.
Always pushing the limits.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. He's always pushing the limits. Yeah, there's a couple other things that he pushes the limits on. But,
pushes the limit.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, and so now the Packers. Once again, as you can see, he's pushed the limits on his cap. I mean, only $27 million free. However, offensively, passing, I mean, once again,
not even using Aaron Rodgers right now, developing a young quarterback just cause right now.
Just unbelievable. And let's see something here. I mean, he even gets to keep Aaron Rodgers. I mean, he's not even an upcoming free agent. I mean, the big one is Chandler Jones, and I guarantee you Chandler Jones probably goes to free agency. Because I don't think there was a age reduction used on him because he came over from another team. I can probably click on him. Let me click on him real quick, see if the computer does what it's supposed to do. Let's see. Yeah, he's age 33, 11 years, speed. Yeah, no, we'll see him in free agency. So. Once again, you got A.J. Dillon, Hightower. You're probably going to see him in free agency. Donovan Smith and Josiah DeGuara. So once again, he's set up as well. All of his guys.
Pay attention to who the Packers are using right now. He's using a bunch of rookies that he's trying to develop to get him some depth as when he goes into the playoff run and into next year, doing a great job of developing some young talent.
Yeah, exactly. Like you said, Brett Favre the second, Aaron Rodgers. I mean, he's got those guys. I mean, and then like you said, you have the age reduction on Aaron Rodgers, which is just absolutely sick. But once again, Aaron Jones at the running back, and then if you go to the wide receivers, I mean Devontae Adams, Randall Cobb. I mean, you even got Denzel Mims. So those are his three. I mean, those are the big three, and then everyone else, yeah, you know. But you
And
got
they're all fast.
every
They all
one of
run
them.
good routes.
Even Andy Isabella, he's down here as wide receiver 77. But I mean, that dude is just, he's running past everybody, And then once again, on the defensive end, you add in the Honey Badger, a strong safety with an X factor. So
Yeah, Packers great cover 3 defense, does a great job of using.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah, exactly. I find his team is one of the worst teams to try and pass on because
for sure.
I mean his user skills are unbelievable.
For sure.
Yeah. And the last team that we'll look at is we've already looked at yours. I wanted to look at someone over here. Well, let's go to the Chiefs. I don't think we looked at the Chiefs. Now, the Chiefs with his wheeling and dealing at the beginning, he didn't have a lot of cap room. But with moving those guys,
Yeah.
he opened up his salary to have $3 million left. So if you got to grab a guy from free agency or whatever to balance your books, you can.
The Mahomes deal really puts the Chiefs behind the 8 ball, even though
Right.
Patrick's a great player.
Yeah, and it's like you already mentioned. The problem that you have here is that you've got a good quarterback, but when they take out 20 to 25% of your cap, it just doesn't allow you to get the other things that you need.
No,
to be up.
not at all.
To be a team. Because you look at Tyreek's 22, Chris Jones is 20, Kelsey's 13, and then his lineman is actually 11. And then if you come over here to the top players, 4 out of those 5 are the same guys.
Right.
So your most expensive guys are your top players. And sometimes what you want is that you don't want your top players to always be the most expensive ones, because that means
Trying
that
to
you
get a
can't.
young rookie, that's for sure.
Yeah, that means you can't do anything like when you want to go and trade or anything like that. You're going to have to trade your top guys,
Right.
versus being able to trade other ones. So the issue that he's going to run into is Chris Jones as being a free agent, Clyde Edwards-Helaire. He just got Cameron Curl. Cameron's not going. He's going there. But it looks like and Chase Young, unless he just signed him.
He did sign Chase Young. He signed Chase Young right away.
Okay.
Quick to do it.
Hey, you know what? He's a good man. I was trying to give. Once again, people must not like Washington, because, I mean, I could not sign those guys for nothing. They were like, well, hey, thanks, appreciate it. And I gave them what they wanted. I really
Some
did.
players just need a change of scenery. It's all.
Yeah. And so I would probably say that you're probably going to see Chris Jones probably hit free agency. I don't
Free
think.
agent acquisition.
Yeah, because I think that he is.
He's tagged right now. Yeah.
Yeah, he's got 1 year left, 20 million, 14 to the cap, 29. I mean, the question will be is what was he asking? I don't know what he was asking. If I knew what he was asking, got it. But I also believe this: what's going to happen is that I could never get any of the development traits. So if Chase Young just gets one development trait to get a couple of sacks or something like that, he is going to immediately become an X factor. And when he becomes an X factor,
He's a problem.
Yeah, he's a problem. And like I said, he was a problem for us because he didn't want to sign. So that's
You know who's done a good job? And I know we didn't talk about him, but just quiet shout out to the Jets, who really made a move in the first season to get all those draft picks and has really done a nice job of developing, a weak Jets roster into something that's really good. That tailback is unbelievable. Obviously,
yeah. Well, in fact,
quarterback's good, but he's done a nice job developing through the draft and through the process for sure.
well, let's do this. I mean, we'll look at him. We'll make him the last one that we're going to look at. And I like exactly what you said, because there are no, I mean, unless he just ended up getting a couple, but there are no guys over, there are no 99s on this team.
Right.
Not one. I mean, the best
Jason
guy they got,
Kelsey's
Jason
age
Kelsey.
reduction.
Yeah, and 38 million. I mean, that's on the line. And you got Lawson, Treader, Quentin Williams, and Bryce Callahan. And once again, the top players, Chancellor, man, that guy, 96 speed. I mean, that's just
drafted player.
I
Developed.
mean,
Same with Callahan.
yeah, exactly. I like to go back and find, once again, he was the 29th pick in the first round. So a bunch of people slept on him, including yours truly, even though I got the strong safety who's about to be a 90, Vincent. But he's not.
Oh yeah, that was a great pick for you.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I mean that's who I needed. I mean I had Gibson, but I mean Chancellor. I wish I would have seen that he. I wish I would have seen his 40, because if I would have seen his 40, I would have been like, oh,
for sure.
oh, hold on, but yeah,
For
no,
sure.
95, 97. Once again, props, and he, like I said, and like you said, he's doing all of this without 99s, and playing very, very well. I think
his first draft after the first season, he had 3 or 4 first-round picks. All those guys went to defense. All those guys were corners or however it went down, and they are all playing and doing really well for him. Really, really nice job by the Jets owner.
Yep.
Now, if we can just keep Goodwin under control, we'll be all right over there.
Man, that's once again, that's a wide receiver that is a problem week in and week out. Even when he's a problem, even when he breaks the rules.
So fast.
He's so fast he breaks the rules. And then you take a look at the upcoming free agents. Really, Carl Lawson is the only one. Bryce Hall, Monte Nicholson. I know why. I mean, he's just fast. He's a fast safety. But all these other guys, once again, you're not going to sign any of them. You'll let them go to free agency and just try and see what you can actually get for them. So
I like to think the Jets will come out of the division, I think.
Most definitely they'll come out. The Bills, if they were a what's the word I'm looking for? If they were a regular player, I know Frank comes in and out and plays and things like that. But if Frank was playing, that would be locked up. And even though we got a Patriots user with be like, they're 1-7, so they're not going to make it into the playoffs or anything like that, because the Patriots got a couple of players. He's got to play me. He's got to play the Cowboys. And I'm not even saying I'm going to win, but I mean I'm trying to
have an easy road.
Right. I'm trying to. Because of that debacle today, where I went out at the 1 yard line, I didn't get the touchdown. I'm a game behind the Cowboys for the rest of the season. And the user games I got coming up, he's got some user games, and I needed to win so I could be tied. And that way, if it comes down to it, we don't have to deal with the Vikings, because we already know, 6 of the 7 positions are taken. So let's go through this real quick. It's the 49ers, the Buccaneers, the Panthers, the Packers, the Lions. Okay, so that's 5. And then if you add either Dallas or myself, that's 7. And then you still have the Vikings on the outside in. So somebody's going to get the short end of the stick. And it's probably going to look like, the way everything's going, only one person's coming out of my division to play. So we'll see how it goes. But I needed that win. But yeah, that hurt me at the end. I swear, I was like, when I saw him get past, I was like, please, 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 please. And
the
then
pass interference to play before was crazy too.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, once again, because I was like, okay, and I just threw it up and like, okay, well, if I get another shot, I was like, well, let me try this play. I said, and then once I saw him, and the guy looked like something, I was like, oh, wait a second. And then I threw it, and I'm like, come on. And then it said A, and I'm like, ugh. And then I just screamed at the end.
Frozen.
I was at the end. So,
Tough one.
Yeah, definitely. But hey, what can you say? That's kind of Madden. But once again, hey, Jason, I appreciate it. I was hoping to get a couple other guys in, but I know for a fact that the Chargers, I think he probably got tied up and everything like that. So,
My pleasure.
unfortunately,
Happy
but
to do it.
but dude, I appreciate it. This is awesome. And so, I know how to set it up. I know how to bring people from the Discord into this. So the next time we get a chance, we'll do it. Get a couple more guys in there, have more discussion, and hey, what can I say? Thanks a lot, man. I appreciate you jumping in.
Appreciate all
And
your hard work.
hey, no worries. And for everybody watching this, I'm going to put this up on YouTube like I usually do, and then you can look at it whenever you want. So, with that being said, thank you for joining us. We're out of the Audible.